Taiwan belongs to China. Don't you dare touch it. If anyone takes Taiwan, I'll cut ties with you forever. Wow, doesn't that sound familiar? Like some kindergarten kid throwing a tantrum over a toy? Except this isn't a sandbox fight. This is actually China's diplomats at the UN General Assembly. Every year, the moment Taiwan gets mentioned, Beijing switches into toy defense mode, screaming on repeat, mine, mine, mine.
Mine, 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 mine.
Honestly, it's louder and more annoying than the seagulls in Finding Nemo. And let's be real, this whole scene doesn't look like international diplomacy at all. It looks like a creepy ex who just can't move on, showing up everywhere, shouting love confessions, and thinking persistence equals success. Sorry, China, this isn't a romantic comedy. This is a global political theater, and the world's already sick of your reruns. So why is China so obsessed with Taiwan? The official excuse is always history. The government that now rules Taiwan was originally the Republic of China, which retreated to the island after losing the civil war on the mainland. The communist Yuan founded the new China, and then immediately claimed Taiwan as theirs too. It's basically like a divorced couple. The wife moves into another apartment across town, the husband renovates the old house and hangs a shiny new nameplate, then shouts, oh, and her apartment? That's mine too.
台湾问题是中国核心利益中的核心，是中美关系第一条不可逾越的红线。
我们绝对不会允许台湾地区从中国分裂出去。
And why do they always say claim instead of own? Because back in World War II, the old Chinese government was on the Allies' side. Roosevelt and Churchill promised Chiang Kai-shek that Japan's occupied lands would be returned. So they issued the Cairo Declaration and Potsdam Declaration. But guess what? Those were basically press releases, not legally binding transfers of sovereignty. If press releases counted as law, then posting, I married Johnny Depp on my blog would mean he's legally my husband. Wow, sorry Johnny, I better start blogging. Alright, back to the war. Chiang Kai-shek lost and retreated to Taiwan to lick his wounds. And the world basically put the Taiwan question on the back burner. Meanwhile, Chen and Mao kept arguing about who could call themselves China. The UN Resolution 2758 came along and gave the China seat to Mao's government. But here's the thing, that vote only decided who gets the chair labeled China at the UN. No one said they could also help themselves to Taiwan's chair.
The delegation of the Republic of China has now decided not to take part to any further proceedings of this General Assembly.
China's favorite magic trick these days is waving around UN Resolution 2758. They keep shouting,
See, the UN already decided Taiwan belongs to us.
一个中国原则成为国际社会普遍共识和公认的国际关系基本准则，彻底封堵了任何人、任何国家、任何势力企图制造两个中国或一中一台的空间。
Xi Jinping treats it like a can WD-40. The world gets a little too friendly with Taiwan. Spray 2758. Someone questions China's claims. Spray 2758. Taiwan wants in on an international organization flooded with 2758. He honestly believes if you spray it enough, Taiwan will just slide right into China's arms. But in reality, it might just slide into someone else's arms instead. He even thinks swallowing Taiwan will let him beat America in semiconductors or geopolitics. Meanwhile, China's economy is collapsing, unemployment is skyrocketing, and local governments are drowning in debt. But Xi still believes, once we annex Taiwan, problem solved. That's like a 400-pound guy thinking robbing the gym next door will turn him into a bodybuilder. But the reality hit hard. Before this year's UN General Assembly, the Interparliamentary Alliance on China lawmakers from the UK, the Netherlands, Australia flat out rejected Beijing's distortion of 2758. and Palau to Palau, St. Kitts and Nevis, the Marshall Islands. Taiwan's allies all stood up and said,
China wrongly interpreted UNGA Resolution 2758.
Never has there been such gaslighting in this institution.
Taiwan deserves a place in this forum. This is a matter of strict justice.
This resolution is only about China's sea. It has nothing to do with Taiwan's sovereignty. Yet Beijing keeps squawking like the seagulls from Finding Nemo. Mine, mine, mine. If repetition made things true, Ronald McDonald would already be the president of the world. China's strategy is actually very simple. Their repeat button. They just keep hitting play again and again. They flood social media with bots on X and Facebook, spamming comments, attacking anyone who disagrees, and blasting short videos everywhere. It's basically territorial marketing, like a dog peeing on every lamppost in the neighborhood. Beijing even drags out the Cairo Declaration and the Potsdam Declaration as evidence. Hello? When those were written, the Communist Party hadn't even founded New China yet. That's like waving your dad's PhD dissertation as proof you went to college yourself. And sure, Goebbels once said, tell a lie 1,000 times and it becomes truth. But if I tell strangers 1,000 times I'm Mariah Carey, I don't get copyright to All I Want for Christmas Is You. I just end up that weird on some street interview show. Best case, someone throws me a candy cane and asks me to shut up until December. The problem for Beijing is, this trick's running out of gas. During COVID, Taiwan shipped masks and kept chip supply steady. That's why you can pull out your brand new iPhone and ask ChatGPT, what the hell's wrong with China? Meanwhile, China locked down the planet for 3 years and then cozied up to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So now the US and Europe are pushing back hard, calling out China's distortion of Cairo, Potsdam, and 2758, and openly encouraging Taiwan's participation in global organizations. And Beijing Ministry of Foreign Affairs? All they can do is keep screaming, China's final warning. By now, their so-called final warning has been issued more than 9,000 times.
台湾是中国领土神圣不可分割的一部分，
是对台独分裂势力与外部势力勾连挑衅的严重警告。
If it's really final, then my grandma's Windows update was final too. Here's the bottom line. The UN is supposed to be a platform for cooperation, not China's private karaoke lounge for the one China principle. Taiwan's voice matters, because if Beijing gets to decide who speaks, then eventually the only language left will be Mandarin, complete with CCP subtitles. Don't forget, China once swore up and down, zero COVID will last forever.
坚持动态清零不动摇。
What happened? 3 years later, all anyone remembers is a nightmare of lockdowns. And China nearly got zeroed out itself. China's promises are like shopping on TV. What you see online is Gucci. In the box, it's straight up Gucci. So the next time Beijing shouts, Taiwan belongs to China, you can just reply, sure, finish using up your final warnings first.